Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Janelle Anderson. She is known as the Speaking Confidence Coach for coaches. She is certified professional coach, author, and renowned speaker, and who sees in a mission to empower coaches to launch on a strong foundation of clear messaging aimed at the audience most aligned with their passion and strengths. Welcome to the show, Janelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit, especially the coaches, will benefit from what we are going to talk about. We'll talk about finding your story and a voice and sharing your story. My first question to you, Janelle, is you are known as the Speaking Confidence Coach for coaches. How do you inject confidence into coaches? Is it that some magic wand that you have, or is it some injection that you put into them? I want to understand from you, how do you bring this confidence part into people?
Yes, I wish I could just inject confidence into them. It would be so much easier. So much easier. There's a process to it. I think, first and foremost is really being confident in who you are and your message. I feel like everybody needs to know how valuable their voice is, meaning, what they share with their voice, that their ideas and their opinions and their thoughts and their story, and being able to have that confidence in that what you have to share is going to bring value to somebody else. It's going to bring maybe even life-changing results in other people's lives. And I believe everyone has that power within them to share something life-changing. And it's just believing in that. So my first step with coaches is to help them believe in themselves and believe in what they're doing, that it's important, that it has value, and that they matter. And if I can help them do that inner work and really believe in themselves, then it's a lot easier than to start to teach them how do you communicate that to the world, and how do you tell your story, how do you articulate it, how do you get in front of people. But first they have to believe in themselves. So that's the first step.
Right, Janelle. So I want to understand, in terms of coaches, they are expert of something. And that is why they have got certain clients. They continue to get clients, but they want more clients. But before that, they need to have that confidence. Why is it that they don't have confidence, or they want to gain confidence in one aspect? I want to understand why these experts need confidence from. Is it about messaging? Is it about story? I want to understand, so that people understand where exactly the value comes from you.
So you're asking me why they want to have confidence in their particular area of expertise?
Yeah, what is it that they want your expertise in? Because they themselves are experts. That's why they are coaches.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's helping them to put their messages together in such a way that when they get up to speak, whether it's on a virtual platform like right here, what we're doing here, or in person, or even one-on-one or small groups, that they aren't just talking, off the top of their head and wandering off down rabbit trails, that they have a message put together. They understand, they've really thought about what it is they want to say, and they make their words count, because words are powerful. And sometimes you can substitute one word for a lot of other words, and it has a lot more power. So like helping them to, really refine their message and understand what that message is, and then practice, sharing it with the world. So that's where my expertise comes in. I just had 2 clients do what's called an action talk, sort of like a TED talk, like a 15-minute talk on a stage, and they were filmed and everything. And we worked on their talk. And it took a long time, because there's a flow to it, right? There's a message you want to convey, and you have to do it in 15 minutes. So you have to make your words count. So I like to really get in there and word craft. And then on top of that, teach them how to show up on stage, how to, have energy behind it, how to share their story and not get stage fright when they get up there, but to just really deliver this message with that passion that they have to share their message, to change the world, to impact other people's lives. So for me, that's the expertise they come to for me, but also how that can help them build their business as coaches. Because, a lot of times coaches just think, well, I'll hang my sign outside and I'll have clients.
Right.
But you have to get out there and you have to put yourself out there and speak. And that's the fastest way to build your business. So there's a lot of the business building part of it that I help them with as well. So
Absolutely. That is why I asked this question. Yeah, carry on.
No,
Yeah,
I was just hoping that did. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is why I asked what exactly because a lot of coaches across the world, they might be the best people in terms of their expertise, but they don't know how to reach out to people, and they are not getting the best of clients. So I want to understand, how would I know whether my message is correct or not? Is it about the number of clients? I could still be getting few clients, but my messaging can be a whole lot better. How would I know that as a coach?
That's a great question. So the first thing is to line up your message with what your potential clients really want and need. And so you really have to understand your audience. You need to understand what they're looking for, what their problems are, that, because people are listening to you or coming to you as a coach because they want to solve their problem. And so one of the biggest mistakes coaches make is they talk about their method or what they do as a coach, or they talk about things that are more in alignment with what they're doing in the coaching session. Like I help people, find their passion, or I help people learn how to be, to love themselves. That's a common thing that coaches will say, or I help them to remove obstacles that get in their way. And that's more about the method that the coach is using. And people, when they first come to you or they're listening to you, they don't necessarily want to know how you're going to do it. They want to know what they will get by working with you. Like, what are the results they're going to get in? How's their life going to change after they work with you? And so when you're putting your message out there, it needs to be in alignment with what your audience is looking for. And it needs to be specifically focused on the results they will get from working with you. So when you lead with that in your message, you'll get a lot more clients, but you also get a lot more listeners. You'll get people tuning in. They're going to be listening to, oh, that's me. She's talking about me, or he's talking about me. So that is really one of the finer points, I guess, or one of the most difficult things coaches have is really understanding what it is that their audience is really wanting to hear from them, and then being able to share it in a way that really matches up with that syncs with their desire to get results. And then after they become your client, then you can start talking about how you're going to get them to that result. So,
right.
Yeah.
Great, Janelle. Now, in terms of messaging, one can, put the messaging in such a manner that the solution part comes very clearly to the audience or to your target clients.
Right.
Now, in today's time, how do you do that and still be authentic? Many a times it can turn out to be like an advertisement, which may not be fully correct, and it may dilute your authenticity. How do you bring those two things together, sell at the same time without sounding salesy, and at the same time you come out as authentic and an expert in what you do?
Yes. So there's the problem, right there, is being able to do all of that. One of the most powerful ways to do that is to learn how to be a good storyteller, because stories captivate people's attention and they illustrate to people what you're saying in a way that they can really understand. People understand your point, your objectives, your facts that you're sharing with them a lot better when you share it in a story, and you can show them in the story how this applies to them. So I teach a lot on storytelling, and just learning how that art of telling a great story where you bring in a character. It could be you, it could be one of your clients, it could be someone else, but it's that character that those people listening can relate to. So if I'm talking to coaches that are maybe just starting off in business, I might tell a story of when I started off in business, or a story about a client that just started out in business, because that will relate to those listeners. But if I'm talking to an audience of coaches that have been in business for a while, then maybe I'll tell a story about someone who's been in business for a while. So making sure that the character in the story is the person that they can relate to, they can see themselves in that character. And then you want to talk about the problem, the issue, the obstacle that the character had to overcome, and all that they went through and what they were feeling. And then when they got to that place where, that high point of the story where everything was falling apart, or it was like, disaster about to happen, or they're losing everything, and then something happened and they made a decision or they made a change, and then they started, everything started to turn around, and they ended up, with that solution. So if you're telling a story about the solution, about the the getting to that objective, getting to that place, that result that your listeners want, they're going to be like, oh, that's me. I've had those problems. And oh, yeah, I so relate. And yes, I want that ending that person had. I want that solution. They can see themselves getting there. They can see themselves having that result. Then that's going to resonate in a much more powerful way than if you're just like giving facts and sounding salesy, or trying to convince people to hire you. You don't ever want to try and convince people to hire you. You just want to invite them to have that same experience that this person has as you're telling the story. And you're just opening up this invitation. To me, that's a lot more authentic. I'm not trying to make anybody do anything. I'm just sharing a story, and I'm sharing from my heart, what I've helped others do, or what I have done in my own life, and how I can help them if that's what they also want. So there's this invitation. But if you're telling a story, they're going to be a lot more likely to want to work with you than if you're just talking about yourself or about what you do. If you're just keeping everything focused on them and what they can see, that vision they can have of who they can become and what they can achieve, that's what people will grab onto, and gladly, because they want that and they can see the possibilities because you've painted this beautiful picture for them.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, Janelle. Now let's talk about, before you tell a story, you need to find your voice. So, in terms of what is this my voice here, especially in terms of women, you help a lot of women entrepreneurs about their expertise, owning their expertise, monetizing their message, and attract more clients. So, how do
Mhm.
I find my voice? What is this voice? Is it about brand voice, like they have? This is the brand voice. You speak in a particular tone. How do
Mm.
I know what is my voice?
Yeah.
Firstly, is there a discovery around that, especially again for women entrepreneurs and men also, men coaches? But I want to
Mhm.
understand, where does this voice, your voice or my voice or anybody voice, how do they
Mhm.
discover this voice thing and then tell their story?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's two things when I think about voice. One is the physical voice, your tone of voice, speaking and articulating, and all the speaking techniques that you can learn. But there's also, when I say my voice, I'm thinking about my um, uh, authentic messaging, my opinions, my thoughts, my background, my personality even comes into it. So I remember when I first started speaking, I thought, well, I can't speak. I'm not loud and demonstrative. I'm not like this big personality. I'm a very calm, quiet, laid back kind of person. And I felt like that I couldn't be a speaker. But then I started noticing a lot of very powerful speakers who were more quiet and just talked in a conversational tone, but they were authentic, and they shared something profound and something important and something wise from their own life. And then I realized, well, I could do that. I could just be me. And so a part of your voice is being yourself, because people can pick up when you're not authentic and you're not being you. That comes across, and people don't usually like that at all. So the first thing is be you. And with that, though, you can learn some skills that are involved in speaking. And so you can learn how to project your voice, but it can still be your natural voice. So I think there's two parts to this. And one is just learning what is your voice physically, the tone of your voice. A lot of people will say, I hate the sound of my voice. I hate listening to myself speak. And I used to feel that way as well. And then when I started my own podcast, I did my own editing. And so I was listening to myself talk all the time. And I finally got to the place where I thought, I like my voice. So I think there's a part of just kind of getting over that self-consciousness about how you sound and listening to the tone of your voice and appreciating it for what it is, and just letting that be who you are, not try to be somebody else and have a voice that's somebody else's voice. So for me, it's learning how to be you, how to embrace who you are, your personality, as well as your voice itself, and then learning the skills to just make it better and be the more skilled you are in it, the more confident you will be in yourself, and learning how to just, really embrace who you are and knowing, again, like I said earlier, the value of who you are, that you are important, that there's nobody that's better than you and you're not better than anyone else. We're all valuable, amazing human beings with something important to share. And so being able to really love your own voice, I think, is a big part of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is much to learn about these things. And, this is just one podcast show. You have got your own podcast, Women Emerging Fearlessly. You are the podcast host. And then you have got also the new book, Take Center Stage, Be the Star of Your Own Story. What is this book all about? Who is this book for? What people can learn from there and also from your podcast?
Yes, thank you. So my book is on the shelf back here. It is a book for women. I mean, men could learn from it too, but it's really written for women. And it was a book that came out of my own experiences. So it tells my story. I have a history of, in my 20s, of some trauma that happened, sexual trauma. And out of that came a loss of confidence. And I didn't feel like I felt very worthless. And for many years, I just didn't have a voice. I didn't speak up. I didn't feel like anyone wanted to hear what I had to say because of this story, really, that I told myself, that this past trauma that had happened to me, that it was because I was worthless. I didn't see the worth and value in myself. I took what happened to me and assigned it to me as an identity, basically. And so I hid, I played small, I didn't speak up, and I didn't go after my dreams for about 30 some years. And so then when I was in my 50s, I went through a healing process. And I really processed through all the trauma, and I began to realize that what had happened to me did not define who I am, and that I was never worthless. But these things had happened to me. Somebody did these things to me, but that didn't make me worthless. And so as I walked through that healing transformation process, I started to find this confidence coming out, and I started to speak up, and I started to go after my dreams. And I realized, wow, like I feel like I'm taking center stage of my own life. And so that became the title of the story. So I tell my story, but I also talk about the process that I went through. And so there's a workbook that goes with it as well. And so the process is really what the book is about. It's not about me and my story. I tell my story so people understand where I'm coming from, but really the book is for women to find their own transformation and to shed the shame stories in their own life that are holding them back, and then find their star, like be the star of your own story. Find the true you that's in there and start to step out there on your own center stage of your life and be you and shine your light. And so it's really a transformational book for women. And the
Absolutely.
podcast is kind of along the same line. It's stories of women that have overcome a lot of things in their life to emerge fearlessly onto, that center stage of their life. I feel like a lot of times women hide out. They don't speak up. They don't shine because they don't feel like anybody is interested, or they don't have confidence in themselves. They don't see the value of who they are. And so I really want to encourage women to know how amazing they truly are, and that we need them. We need them to come out and shine their light and be who they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what's the best way for people to get hold of your book and also to learn more from you, and also those who would like to, engage with you professionally and learn directly from you?
Absolutely. Well, I have a website called emerginglifecoaching.com. And you can always email me as well, Janelle at emerginglifecoaching.com. And those are the best ways to get a hold of me. I do have a new app. So if they want to download my app, it's called Emerging Life Coaching, and they can
Right.
find it in Android or the iTunes store, the Apple store. And so just reach out to me. I would love to hear from you and to get to know you and see if there's any way I can help you. So yeah, reach
Absolutely.
out.
Absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.